Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, September 22nd. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. Governor Greg Abbott on Monday issued a disaster declaration for more than 24 counties as Tropical Storm Beta closed in on the Texas coast. Expect cloudy skies and a few showers with a high of just 81 in San Antonio today. The plan to move the Alamo Cenotaph, subject to decades of debate, hangs in the balance. The Texas Historical Commission is expected to vote today on a permit to move the monument about 500 feet south. We have 5 things you need to know about the situation, plus a timeline of the project at the link in this episode's description. San Antonio residents can once again flock to city-owned public spaces such as basketball courts, skate parks, and playgrounds. On Monday, city officials lifted the 10-person limit on in-person gatherings at city parks and plazas. And now let's move on to the top stories for the day. A rate increase could be on the horizon for CPS Energy customers as the utility tries to strike balance between using more renewable energy and managing the COVID-19 related hit to the city-owned utility's finances. The utility is pushing forward with its Flex Power Bundle plan. The aim is to increase CPS's capacity to produce solar and other renewable energy while maintaining reliable electricity at relatively low rates for customers. It costs more to use renewable energy compared with electricity generated from coal and natural gas. CPS Energy is projecting at least $21.6 million in losses for its current budget year, which runs through January 31st, 2021. Originally, the utility projected a $3.9 million surplus for the year. For more on the future of San Antonio's energy, read Diego Mendoza Moyer's latest story. A Bexar County Sheriff's deputy who shot and killed a black military veteran in mental distress last month has a troubled past that includes an arrest for domestic violence. 7 years after he joined the sheriff's office, Deputy John Rodriguez was charged in May 2013 with assault with bodily injury, accused of striking his wife. Rodriguez admitted to throwing an iPad at her and breaking 2 coffee tables and a television set. Sheriff Javier Salazar has taken a hard line against other deputies accused of domestic violence, in many cases firing them immediately after their arrests. But Rodriguez was arrested before Salazar became sheriff in 2017. In the most recent case, Salazar said the deputies who responded did a good job in handling the call. Brian Chasnoff has more in his latest story, which you can find at the link in this episode's description. A Virginia woman has sued USAA Bank for allegedly calling her at least 130 times to collect overdue bills. Aubrey Hammond has sued the San Antonio Bank in federal court in Virginia, alleging the calls violated the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. The law restricts debt collectors and telemarketers' use of automated dialing and pre-recorded messages to consumers' cell phones. According to the lawsuit, Hammond had to find a new job in December after her work hours were cut to just a few hours a week. During that time, she fell behind on her USAA credit card payments. Patrick Danner has more of the details on the lawsuit and how the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act could be applied in this case. The Basila Frocks building at the corner of Martin and Zarzamora is an important part of the West Side's rich history. It helped make San Antonio a hub for garment manufacturing decades ago and housed a bevy of businesses including restaurants, a nightclub, a shoe store, and a Chinese grocery. The building has sat vacant for years, but it may be coming back to life. The Westside Development Corporation, a nonprofit funded by the city, financial institutions, private organizations, and donors, is seeking a partner to redevelop it. Madison Eisler takes a closer look at the effort to create a new use for the building and why there are concerns among neighbors. With the pandemic, there are new questions about how the 2020 elections will work. Who qualifies for mail-in ballots if that's what you want to do? Is not wanting to catch COVID-19 a legitimate reason to vote by mail instead of in person? We have answers to your questions at the link in this episode's description. To keep our readers up to date on the path of COVID-19, the Express News has built a dashboard of interactive graphics showing the spread of the virus in the San Antonio area, in Texas as a whole, and across the United States. We've also created an interactive map of San Antonio for COVID-19 testing sites that don't require a doctor's referral. You can find a link to the dashboard and the interactive map in this episode's description. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside your Express News subscription. The risk level for coronavirus entered the safe zone in San Antonio on Monday, allowing for the reopening of various city services and facilities, at least on a limited basis. Houston restaurateur Christopher and Harris Papas have filed paperwork in what could evolve into a bid to buy Luby's assets from the floundering company. Texans who need to renew or replace their driver's license or identification cards can continue to do so on Saturdays through the end of the year. An incarcerated man at the Bexar County Jail died Monday, officials said. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office said it appears the man experienced a medical episode related to a pre-existing condition. According to a tweet by Sheriff Eddie Guerra, envelopes filled with the deadly toxin ricin were mailed to the Hidalgo County Sheriff and 3 of his deputies. TikTok's new headquarters will likely be based in Texas after President Trump finalized a deal for Oracle Core and Walmart to purchase the popular social media app. Uber upgraded a safety feature in 60% of its cities, including San Antonio, allowing for precise location information to be automatically sent to 911 through the rideshare app. Federal officials have issued final approvals to backers of a Houston to Dallas high-speed rail line, further clearing the way for construction of the proposed line in a move all but certain to face ongoing challenges from opponents. As President Donald Trump prepares to swiftly name a Supreme Court nominee in hopes of having Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's replacement approved by the election, U.S. Senator John Cornyn and other Republicans are saying there's no need to rush. Houston Congressman Dan Crenshaw ripped into Democrats during a testy interview on Monday, saying they are going too far in pushing mail-in voting, which he says is ripe for fraud and other mistakes. If any city had reopened to travelers, Randy Diamond figured Atlanta was the place. Instead, one of the top destinations for conventions is quiet. Read about it in the latest Wary Traveler column. Thousands more people in Bexar County are expected to register to vote in the November 3rd presidential and general election ahead of a deadline just 2 weeks away. More than 100 years after the first feature-length color motion picture, Hollywood is still black and white, but mostly white, the Express News editorial board writes, adding, quote, "That bias, whether implicit or blatant, is depressing and disturbing, but the Academy is addressing it." The founder of the fast-growing Grunt Style, a military-themed clothing brand headquarters in San Antonio, claims he's been cast out of the company. The University of Texas at San Antonio will launch an on-campus career center dedicated to providing students with opportunities to get hands-on workforce experience with local businesses before they graduate. It's being funded by a $3 million donation to the university from local philanthropist Harvey E. Najim. Far out in Bexar County, between Martinez and China Grove, is a spot called Honey's Place, where no one is a stranger and good times are in large supply. Owned by Loretta Brown, it's a throwback to old-school nightclubs such as the legendary Eastwood Country Club, where integrated crowds gathered in the 1950s and 60s on St. Hedwig Road, some 12 miles away. It's a lot more modern than the old juke joints, Brown said. The feel is still the same. Vincent T. Davis has more on the latest edition of San Antonio Stories. Binding agents for meat like mayonnaise, mustard, and olive oil make seasonings stick and retain moisture. Experimenting with binders is a lot of fun. Some fail, others succeed. This week in Chuck's Food Shack, Chuck brings you some great binders to use as a starting point. Country music singer Ward Davis is bringing his acoustic tour to the AT&T Center's outdoor Bud Light courtyard. Senor Fish Seafood Bar is preparing to open in the former San Antonio home of Tacos and Tequila on Broadway. Kerrville Tidy's Ally Scheidel is the EN Volleyball Player of the Week. And there's a new team atop our Sub-5A football rankings. And that's all for today. This was your Express briefing for Tuesday, September 22nd. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful day, everyone.